Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everybody. Big news, very big news happening today. Sorry, it took me a few minutes to get on. The press conference is live right now, so we'll jump right over to it. But if you're not sure what I'm talking about, Rachel Morin, a lady that was unalived back in August, we've been covering her case for a long time now. They had a suspect in mind through DNA, but they couldn't match the DNA to the person. And that's kind of what we've been waiting on. So I'm assuming that they're going to tell us, because I saw that they did make an arrest. I'm assuming they're going to tell us a little bit more about it. So let me go over here to their Facebook. Looks like they haven't started yet, unless they already started. And I need to go back. Maybe you guys will be able to help me with that. Oh, well, never mind. Hold on one second.
Antonio Martinez Hernandez. So far, we have learned that the suspect, now pictured on the screens, is a 23-year-old citizen of El Salvador who illegally crossed the border into the United States in February of 2023. We all suspected that perhaps Rachel was not his first victim, and it's my understanding that this suspect, this monster, fled to the United States illegally after committing the brutal murder of a young woman in El Salvador a month early in January of 2023. Once in our country, and likely emboldened by his anonymity, he brutally attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother during a home invasion in March of 2023 in Los Angeles. And as everyone I believe is aware, that was our first DNA match linking Rachel's case to the Los Angeles case. It has been a fear of mine that once we identified this suspect, the result would be exactly this. And I want to now direct these comments to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and to every member in both chambers of Congress. We are 1,800 miles away here in Harford County. We are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies. This is the second time in just 2 years that an innocent Harford County woman has lost her life to a criminal in our country illegally. Let me repeat that. 1,800 miles from the southern border, and this is the second woman in our county to be killed by an illegal alien. Suspects, in both cases, they are suspects from El Salvador with ties to criminal gangs. Should not be happening. Victor Hernandez did not come here to make a better life for himself or for his family. He came here to escape the crime he committed in El Salvador. He came here and murdered Rachel, and God willing, no one else. But that should have never been allowed to happen. Moving on, I want to make it clear that this case does not get solved, and we do not bring this criminal to justice without the amazing law enforcement teamwork from our local, state, and federal partners. And I mean that in all sincerity.
This is
Rachel's
amazing.
homicide does not get solved. There is no arrest without all of us working together. And for that, I want to thank everyone here in the front of the room and all those who aren't here, but I'm going to cover a list in a minute. I want to thank all of them for their assistance to our agency over the past 10 months. We are profoundly grateful for your dedication and support. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, especially the Baltimore Field Office, rendered invaluable assistance throughout the course of the investigation. Similarly, the State Police, Maryland State Police Crime Laboratory contributed greatly with their expertise and resources. I must also say thank you to the Los Angeles Police Department, the Department of Homeland Security, Naval Criminal Investigative Services, the Maryland State Police Bel Air Barrack, the U.S. Marshal Service Fugitive Task Force, the Harford County State's Attorney's Office, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources Police, the Bel Air Police Department, Maryland Coordination and Analysis Center, the Baltimore Washington HIDA, the Tulsa, Oklahoma Police Department, El Salvadorian authorities, and the many law enforcement agencies, both state and local, who provided invaluable assistance to the Harford County Sheriff's Office during this investigation. As I think is evident, this was truly a comprehensive law enforcement effort, and I am exceptionally proud of the work done by the collective team and countless others who made last night's arrest in Tulsa possible. I also want to thank the members of our Harford County community for their patience, support, and cooperation throughout this investigation, to include hundreds upon hundreds of tips that our investigators have received. Today, we were able to provide what some like to refer to as closure for Rachel's family and for our Harford County community. I want to thank the members of the Morin family, and you're going to hear from, as Christy said, from Patricia here in a minute, but no questions. They have been by the side of our detectives this entire time, doing anything that they could do to help the investigation and to help our detectives, to help bring this individual that took Rachel's life to justice. I recognize there is nothing that will ever close the door or bring true closure concerning the loss of Rachel, but it is my hope and the hope of all involved working this case that the arrest of this suspect brings her family and our Harford County community some peace. I would like to now ask FBI Baltimore Field Office Special Agent in Charge, William DeBano, did I get it right? DeBano, to offer a few remarks.
Thank you, Sheriff Gaylor. Good afternoon. My name is Bill Del Bagno. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Baltimore Field Office. Today, our focus remains on Rachel, bringing justice for her, finding answers for her family and loved ones, and making sure the violent criminal who so viciously took her life cannot harm anyone else. The FBI is proud to stand united with our partners in the Harford County Sheriff's Office as we announce this arrest. We know nothing can take away the pain and the anguish Rachel's family and friends have endured. Please know, on behalf of the FBI, our hearts are with you. To the public, keeping our community safe is one of the FBI's highest priorities, and so are the invaluable partnerships required to accomplish this. During the investigation, here's what I can share from the FBI. Our investigative genetic genealogy team in Baltimore worked countless hours to identify the suspect by using crime scene DNA and tracing that DNA to potential family members. Investigators even traveled to El Salvador as part of their efforts to identify this killer. To find the suspect, we provided technical assistance, helping to pinpoint his location. And that brings us to last night, where Tulsa police and FBI agents were able to successfully apprehend and arrest the suspect in Oklahoma. Harford County and the investigators on this case worked every angle, tirelessly and constantly, never giving up and following every lead and piece of evidence. We thank Harford County for their partnership and bringing us into the investigation. As Sheriff Gaylor outlined, we thank everyone who helped make this arrest possible. To all those who have been waiting for an arrest to be made, for answers, we hope this brings a sense of justice and some peace. The FBI vows to continue to work every day to keep our community safe and prioritize the partnerships so vital to doing that. Thank you. I will now turn it over to Evan Campanella, the Deputy Special Agent in Charge, HSI, Baltimore.
Thank you, Sec Del Bagno. First off, I would like to thank Sheriff Gaylor for having HSI present for today's announcement. Today's announcement is the culmination of almost 1 year of investigative activity that might not always go noticed by the public. This investigation highlights the cooperation and the collaboration HSI has with its state and local and federal partners. And I'm happy to be here today with Sheriff Gaylor and our partners to announce the arrest of Mr. Martinez Hernandez. I hope that today's announcement, as the sheriff pointed out, will help bring some closure to Rachel's family. And again, I would like to thank Sheriff Gaylor for asking HSI to participate in this investigation and to be here for today's announcement. I would now like to invite Harford County State's Attorney, Allison Healy, to the podium for her remarks.
Good afternoon. I want to commend the Harford County Sheriff's Office and other assisting agencies on the hard work, expertise, and diligence identifying and apprehending the suspect in the murder of Rachel Morin. They worked tirelessly on this lengthy and difficult investigation for the public safety of our community and bringing Rachel's family peace, knowing that the next step is prosecution. I will personally be leading the prosecution of this case. While the defendant is innocent until and unless he is proven guilty, Harford County and our neighboring communities can rest assured that my office will take all steps necessary to ensure that justice is served for Rachel Morin and her family. We have already begun coordinating with the Warrant Apprehension Unit of the Harford County Sheriff's Office to handle the extradition of the defendant to Harford County. And once the defendant has been transported back to Harford County, prosecution will commence. Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce to you all Patricia Morin.
I'm going to make this really short because I'm very emotional. I just want to take this time to thank all of the law enforcement for all their hard work. I know that a lot of times we don't see what goes on behind the scenes. You know, you see the policeman in the car when you write you a ticket, but you don't see the real work that happens behind. And around Christmas time, we did a canvassing with Harford County, thank you. And they brought us into a room and I could see all the people that were involved. And that's not even all the external agencies that were involved. And it just gave me such hope that they really did care about our family and my daughter, that they were going to work diligently to find the person that murdered her. At one point, when things seemed like really bleak and hopeless, the lead detective said to me, he said, patience will win in the end. And that's what they've been doing. They've been diligently working very hard, and they've been patiently working through all of the leads. And it's because of that that we have an arrest today. So I'm very thankful and just very grateful to these men. And I'm also very grateful to the press because you kept her story alive so that people would still continue to send in tips. And that helped them to do their job. So I want to thank the press as well. But I don't know if this is, oops, sorry about that. I don't know if this is kosher or not. I'm gonna step away from the pulpit. But I think we should applaud them just because I am so grateful that they have brought us to this place. Because at some of the points during this, I didn't think that we were ever going to have an end, that it was going to be a cold case. So I would like to applaud them.
Thank you. And it's a case that touched us all. So with that, we are going to take some questions. As Christy said, this is still an active investigation. So there's some things that we're not free to speak about or won't be speaking about. So with that, does anybody have any questions that we can answer for any of the speakers?
I have a question. I want to know if you can a little bit, but what actually happens right now? Like we read it.
Well, I'm very familiar with ICE detainers.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure.
Yes, we are
what's status?
there has been an ICE detainer filed on him because he is in this country illegally out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He would not be deported before answering for these charges. So I honestly believe that's the last place he wants to go I think, you know, sad statement is our jails are better here than they are in El Salvador, and he's going to spend, God willing, the rest of his days behind bars. Investigators are still working. I mean, he worked a few odd jobs that we are familiar with. Did not live a very, expensive lifestyle. But this is a free country. You can, once you're in it, you can move from one jurisdiction to the next, very freely. And he did that from El Salvador into the United States to Los Angeles. Unfortunately, here to Harford County. And again, down in Prince George's County, we had him in the Virginia area, and then all the way out to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in the year he's been in the country, a little year plus, who knows where else he's been. And it's a fear of mine. It's a fear of our investigators. And as Patty said, our investigators took this case to heart, as they do all the cases. But this case,
I want to see a picture of him.
And have an emotional tie to it. That I got off on a tangent. That they I lost my train of thought. Investigators are working that. We certainly know he has connections down in the DC area, both Virginia and Prince George's County. But again, as he moved around the country, there were places that we believe he probably had associates, and he has ties to known gangs. So we believe that's how he lived his life. That's where I was going before. We fear all the time, the investigators fear that we're going to stumble across another crime that just hasn't been tied back through DNA or some other science or electronic, tie, that the evidence just hasn't reached the point where we get a hit. But right now, what we're familiar with is the crime in Los Angeles, the home invasion in March of 2023, the homicide here of Rachel in August of 2023. And I believe in Tulsa, he's facing some local charges as well for last night. I think trespassing or disorderly or something to that effect. We're not familiar with any other. I'm not familiar with any other charges. No, in El Salvador, there is a what's called a red notice. A red notice, which is basically an Interpol warrant for his arrest to bring him back there to stand for the homicide of the woman in that case down there. Well, and I gotta defer to our partners at the FBI on that one because they did most of the international.
Thanks, sir. So the FBI has personnel that are positioned throughout the world. They're called legal attaches. And we have a legal attache that is in El Salvador. As we were conducting some of the investigative actions along with Harford County, some of the investigative information took us to El Salvador and working with our partners there in order to understand some of the familial ties that are down there, and also bring together back a better understanding of the red notice that Sheriff Gaylor brought up as well. I don't have any information.
As I understand it, there was about, I don't know how many hours they're behind, 2, 3, Tulsa. So it was midnight our time, and he was hanging out at a business park or a storefront, and the police encountered him, and apparently there's a charge of, we say trespassing, and he was identified during that arrest and processing. Well, and that's been a question since the outset. Was Rachel's homicide random or targeted? And again, I don't know that we have that answer explicitly or completely. But at this point, there's nothing to indicate that anyone other than him was involved. We do have some belief that he spent some time here in the Bel Air area, So he may have seen her in her more or less routine operations. One of the things that we caution people, particularly women on the trail, about doing was developing a routine where it can be predicted where you might be. Um, that would be my suspicion. If he decides to talk throughout the course of the days ahead to either investigators or prosecutors as it moves to that stage, we may learn more about, was it just an opportunity because he was on the trail when, unfortunately she decided to go out exercising that day, or was it something more specific? As to the motive, we've been tight-lipped, I guess, about it. The charges in the case are first-degree murder and first-degree rape. Yeah. And as the colonel just reminded me to say, we do have right now in the air. We have sent investigators to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to follow up on many things related to this investigation. It's very active and ongoing, as I said. He will be extradited here eventually, and that will be done. That process has already been initiated, but it could take, as I understand, the state's attorney 10 to 30 days. 10 days if he doesn't fight it, 30 days if he decides to fight it. But he will be extradited. 30 to 60.
I'm not really sure if we really hear that so often. Attacking people, especially when working. Walk us through how that played a role.
Absolutely. So I think a lot of folks know genetic genealogy or investigative genetic genealogy in some of the cold cases, and certainly has gotten a lot of attention from the Golden State Killer, and since then, a lot of investigations on the cold case side. I think folks should also know that we prioritize the violent crime cases that are current, and that this is an game-changing investigative tool to understand when there are dry holes and there's no other leads to go, that we can apply the investigative genealogy to identify potentially family members, and then in doing that, take it on to a step where Hartford County and our partners can conduct interviews to better understand who the potential subjects are and narrow down that scope. We also use it on, unfortunately, the victim side when we can't identify a victim through any other means, and building out the cases that way. We've seen over time 130 cases thus far since 2018 that have had successfully used investigative genetic genealogy.
They're traffic. Well, he was encountered by the police and agents for the FBI who were out there looking for him. So they had an idea of where he was. But I know that from that encounter, there's also a local charge of trespassing, not in a vehicle. He was apparently at that business, I guess, unwantedly so. He was. We already had the name. We had the arrest warrant. So when they encountered him, they knew he was wanted. So he was picked up for that.
With the home invasion in California charge there, does this make precedent?
Oh, certainly this is the more serious, the loss of life. California will follow up on their investigation. They would have to direct questions to that police, it's LAPD, that is handling that as far as specifics to their investigation. But certainly we have been in communication. Our investigators have been in communication with theirs. They are aware that we identified the suspect here, and by identifying our suspect, we have their suspect, they have their suspect, and they can move forward on charges. They would also file the arrest warrant on file. So, I never want him to leave Maryland again. I want him to die in a Maryland jail, Maryland prison system. We don't have the death penalty, so I just hope he spends the rest of his days there. But if he ever got out of this one, he would be sent extradited to California. And if he got out of that one, there's still the red folder, the red notice, where El Salvador would want him back, and ICE has marked him for detainer. So he would go back there to face those charges. I do not know. No. Actually, the major in the back is shaking his head. No, he does not. And again, we shared the picture. You all will have the picture. It's going to be, no doubt out there on social media. So we're still looking for information. He was in this area for at least some period of time. And when I say the area, he was in the Bel Air area for some period of time before or right after the homicide or both. So if people still have information, and now that there's a name to put with the face, investigators still want to talk to you. We still want to know. We still want to build that timeline, because there is a case to prosecute, and we want to put all the pieces together so that Miss Healy can do her job most successfully, and again ensure this guy never sees the light of day. Not that we're familiar with. Thank you all, and again, thank our partners. To have Rachel's family here means so much. To not me, I mean to me, of course, but to the investigators who work this case tirelessly. I appreciate that, and I appreciate all of our federal, state, and local partners. So with that, thank you. Okay.
For everyone too. We made a decision earlier today that we are not going to share the suspect's photo on our social media. It was here. If you have, if you would like a copy of the flyer, you can send an email to media@hartfordsheriff.org, and I will send it to you if you would like to use it in your newscast, but we will not share his picture on any of our social media. Any other questions?
Why not?
Great. Thank you again.
Okay, why are we not sharing them on social media? I don't get that. But okay. We got us a suspect in custody. That's good. Sorry that I just jumped on here so fast. It was like I literally sorry, my dog's over here walking and I don't have the energy to stop her today. No, I've just been really exhausted the last few days. I don't know what's going on with me. So I was just like laying in bed and just letting myself just get my beauty rest. I was just accepting my exhaustion. I worked outside of the house for 3 years at a job, to the point where I have overworked hands. And I think now, that I'm not working outside the home, my body is allowing me to like get that extra sleep that I was missing. Because I used to wake up, I'm not even kidding you guys, at 1:30 in the morning. I had something wrong where I was getting this shooting like pain through my arm, and my hand would become like a claw. And that's when they figured out it was overworked hands and a few other things. I was just going really hard. And I do that sometimes. I do that all the time. And so I think my body was like, oh, stop it. Stop it, girl. You need to take a nap. So that's what that's what I've been doing the last couple of days. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Oopsie. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that. And I did get on a little late, but I'm like, damn, come on, guys, get over here. We've been running this case for like the longest of times. I feel like we've actually just went over this case not too long ago. Just as like just to get, the story back out there, which was good. Make sure the live replay is on. Okay, it is. So what we're going to do tonight, I'm going to go back through. I've made a bunch of different like slides and presentations and things like that. And I'm going to condense them down and make sure all the info is still true and accurate. And then I'll come on tonight and we'll rewatch the press conference and like I'll really pay attention to what they were saying, a little bit more in depth. Because they were talking about where he was, beforehand, after, and I want to do like a timeline for you guys. I think that'd be pretty cool because then it's something that we can actually physically see. I'm a visual learner. Yes, Wist. I think that's what it was. My brain was just like, you're done for a little while. Because if you think about it, I'm always doing a different case or a case. And I think that's what it was. My brain was just like, oh, you need to take a little break. Yes. Oh, you know what? Mistake. After this live, I'm actually going to schedule my my Chelsea Grim live. I've had it scheduled since December, and we never ended up going back over it. I just wanted to go over the complete like timeline again, and then give you guys like what I think may have happened. And I also want to get a hold of SF Investigates, and I forget the other person's name that was out there looking. They were helping me, talking to me behind the scenes, but I'm going to ask if they're going to go back out. Sorry. And what they think, overall, what they think could have happened. So I'm going to schedule that as soon as I get off the StreamYard, because I think I have to be on StreamYard to do it. But we will talk about the Rachel case tonight. We'll discuss some of that. If there's any updates in like Sebastian Rogers' case, I'll put him on the thumbnail too, and we'll, go over any updates in that case as well, because it's really popular. And I think that's all I have for you guys. I will make a short video over Elijah Vu. His mom's just still going through the court proceedings. Nothing big, nothing, nothing's been told yet, but hopefully something will happen soon. So I'm going to jump off here. My dog's out there messing up something. She's playing with a toy, so she's being extra loud. But I'm going to jump off here, and I will see you guys all tonight. And this is amazing news for Rachel Morin and her family and her children. Those 5 babies finally have some sort of answer to what happened to their mother, or who did this to their mother. So I appreciate you guys so much for being here. If you don't mind just taking a quick second, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys all later this evening. And if I don't, have a wonderful Saturday. Bye, guys.